Hello, this is Ikram of King Sukhoroy, the evolution of I, the evolution of us all. This is possibly the most unprofessional in attire you may see me in. However, due to the climate we have in the UK, especially down London, this is the best that it's going to get. So time for a snappy suit doesn't really accommodate for the environment I'm in right now. And the environment I'm in right now is freezing. I wanted to touch upon a recent post that I made. It was brought to my attention by someone I look up to, speaking about feelings. And initially, my message was to ignore feelings that you may have that are hindering you from achieving your goals. To clarify a little bit more about that, what I mean is not to completely ignore your feelings, but to first ignore the ones that are stopping you. Fear, anxiety, worry that you may fail. Now, there are many reasons why we are afraid. One of the psychological reasons is due to our ancestral survival gene, which is that the brain retains 60% negativity more than it does positive information. The reason for this is purely for survival instincts. So imagine our ancestors when they were in their primitive form, when they were out hunting and gathering, they may come across a lake, and while they are drinking from that lake, a crocodile or something may come up. Now, that incident is going to resonate more in their memory than any of the positive ones. Purely so your brain can keep you alive, because that's its job. But once you understand that your brain is naturally retaining negative information more than positive, you can now use that to its advantage. So when it does start to tell you that you can't do something, trying to tell you to survive. Now, the neurological reason why this happens is because your prefrontal cortex, which is your most advanced part of the brain, which is at the front, this one will try to make you do things, your tasks, and remind you that you've got assignments due in, that you've got essays to write, that you've got presentations to conduct. Now your limbic system, which is the more of the primitive part of your brain, is going to try and stop you from doing that. Why? Because it's more of the primitive and the lazier side, and it wants to stick with what it does. It doesn't want to branch out, doesn't want to do much more than anything that's outside of its comfort zone. So when it gets harassed by the prefrontal cortex, what the limbic system does is it attracts the attention of the amygdala. The amygdala is responsible for anxiety, your fight or flight, and your fear. And then what the amygdala does, it releases cortisol, which shuts down the prefrontal cortex. And the reason why all of this happens is because you're overwhelmed with the task at hand. How you can use this to your advantage is if you do have a lot of work to do, and if you have a big assignment, or if you have a big task or a big job, you break it down into small, manageable tasks. In doing so, you only have to overcome small milestones, and collectively you can gather a massive project by concentrating on the smaller segments and then rewarding yourself after each one. So for example, if you have to write an essay, maybe the first part of your job would be to do your research, which would just be to read some things online or hard literature. Once you've completed that, then you plan your next stage. And once you've completed that, you plan your next stage. And eventually what you're doing is you're taking one small step forward. And once you've completed that, you take another small step forward. Then you take another, and then another, until eventually, once you've finally completed your work, you can look back and see how far you've come. And over time, what you'll do is you'll program your brain to get used to this reward system. And once you've completed it, your brain will release dopamine, which will make you feel good because you've achieved something, serotonin because you feel happy and proud. And then you'll understand that completing something, there is a positive outcome to it. And slowly over time, what you will do is overcome the one thing that stops us achieving anything in life, which is procrastination. And unfortunately, all of us human beings were born with a natural PhD in procrastination. Why? Because we're creatures of habit and we like to do what we're comfortable doing. We don't want to reach out of our comfort zone. However, on the other side of your comfort zone is where success is. So step out, branch out, and be successful. This is Ikram of King Sukhoroy, the evolution of I, in my ragged clothing, walking around the wonderful weather of London. God bless you all.